Hello everyone. So today's topic is progressions, which is a part of number system. So in this particular chapter, what we are gonna learn is about sequence and series. So sequence and series, there are couple of types of main series that are there. One is obviously a finite series and one is infinite series. So let's try and understand all these concepts and then we'll see the questions as usual. So the first part, that is finite series, and very clearly as the name says, finite series is something that will have finite number of terms, that is the terms that we can count actually. So for example, a particular series has 6 terms or 8 terms or 9 terms, etc., etc. All of these are called as finite series. And then obviously, what is infinite series? So it will have infinite number of terms, or rather uncountable number of terms, and hence it is called as infinite series. So that's the very first idea related to finite series and infinite series. Then the first part of finite series is something called as arithmetic progression, which is the first series. Now, what is arithmetic progression? So, a series where the difference between any two consecutive numbers is constant, that is called as arithmetic progression. Let's take an example. For example, 2, 6, 10, 14, 18, all these numbers are in AP. The reason being very simple. Uh, 2 and 6 के बीच में the difference is 4. 6 and 10 के बीच में difference is 4. 10 and 14 के बीच में difference is 4. So any two consecutive terms, if the difference is constant, then the series is called as arithmetic progression. So that's the first part. Then what are the terminologies? So the first term always is called as small a. Then the common difference is called as small d. And then there are a couple of formulae that we have to see. The first one is nth term of a series. So nth term of a series, let's say you know this same arithmetic progression AP series, and they ask you to calculate what is the 19th term of this series. Now, obviously, you cannot keep on adding 4 every time and then find the answer, right? So, what you need to have is a formula wherein which you substitute the values and you will end up finding the answer. And that formula is a plus n minus 1 into d. So, with this formula, you can find out any term of a particular AP. And obviously, if you know the AP, you'll know the value of A, you'll know the value of D, and then you also know which term you are supposed to calculate. Then the notes that are related to AP, that is apart from the formula, and obviously one more formula is yet to be done, that is sum of first n terms. Now, what is the sum of first n terms? So again, with the same philosophy, let's say you want to calculate sum of first two terms, which is 2 plus 6, which is 8. You calculate sum of first three terms, that is 2 plus 6 plus 10, which is 18, and so on and so forth. Now, let's say if they ask you to calculate sum of first 50 terms. Now, obviously, you cannot keep on doing that manually. There has to be a formula, a structure for that. So, there are two ways to do that. One is n by 2 a plus dn, and the other one is n by 2 2a plus n minus 1 into d. The first formula is slight bit particular one, that is when you know the value of the first and the last term, then only you use that. Mostly you are not gonna know the value of tn, so hence the second formula is something that is more generic purpose formula, so you can remember both of them. Now, coming to the next part, that is, let's say you want to write down three numbers in AP. So the best way to do that is this one, that is A minus B, and A plus D. The reason is very simple. When you add three of them, your minus B and plus B gets cancelled out. So that means you are left with only one variable, which is D. And that is the reason this makes your job easier going forward, because now you are left with only one variable A, because your D and D gets cancelled. So you need only one equation to simplify that. Then you want to write down four numbers in AP. Then now the catch is the middle two numbers will be A minus D and A plus D. And the common difference will also change slightly. Instead of D, it becomes 2D. And then there is no restriction for that, because you can take it as 5D or 3D or 7D. Doesn't matter. As long as it is same, the difference, the numbers are in AP. That's the key part. Then if you add 2D in A plus D, you get A plus 3D. And when you subtract 2D from A minus D, you get A minus 3D. So again, the best part about all this is that when you write these numbers like that, what really happens is that you end up eliminating the values of d completely, the variable d, and you are left with only one variable a, which makes your job easier going forward in terms of solving the expression. And then lastly, the middle number. The middle number, always remember that it is going to be the average of the entire series. And but this property is only applicable when you have odd number of terms. If you have even number of terms, then this property is not applicable. So that's the way to look at it. So these are a few concepts related to arithmetic progression that we should be aware of. Now, moving on to the next series, that is geometric progression, which is also called as GP. Now, how do we identify whether a series is a geometric progression or not? So, very simple. Uh, in case of AP, you know that the difference has to be constant. Here, the ratio has to be constant. So, if a ratio between two consecutive terms is constant, then the series is called as geometric progression. Example 2, 6, 18, 54, 162, etc. etc. So, for example, if you do 6 upon 2, you get 3 as the answer. You do 18 upon 6, again you get 3 as the answer. You do 54 upon 18, again you get 3 as the answer. So, what is happening really is the ratio between two numbers, two consecutive numbers, is constant, and hence the series is called as geometric progressions. Now, what are the terms? The terms are kind of similar. So the first term is called as small a again. The common ratio is called as small r. And then same two formulae, nth term of the GP, which is a into r raised to n minus 1. So with this formula, you can calculate any number, any term of a geometric progression, basically. And then lastly, there is something called as sum of first n terms of GP. And sum of first n terms of GP, the formula is Sn ka formula, a into r raised to n, the whole thing, minus 1 upon r minus 1. A into r raised to n, the whole thing minus 1 upon r minus 1. And that's the formula to calculate sum of first n terms of GP. So these are the things related to GP. Now, as usual, same three notes. First part, three numbers in GP. Again, you write down the middle number and then one after that and one before that. So it is A by R and A and AR. The reason to do that is if you multiply all these three numbers, what really happens is the value of R gets cancelled out. The term R gets cancelled out, and you are left with only A as a variable. So you get a cube as the value, and then when you calculate, you need only one equation to simplify that, because you are only left with one variable. The other variable of r has been cancelled out when you multiply these three numbers. So this is the smarter way to do that. There are other ways also, but it may not be that smart to do that, considering in mind the future workload that you have to take on. Then four numbers in GP, similar philosophy. The middle two numbers will be A by R and AR, and the common ratio also changes slightly. From r it becomes r square. So this a by r, if you multiply by r square, you get ar. Then again ar, if you multiply by r square, you get ar cube. And then a by r, because we want to go behind, we'll have to divide by r square. So it becomes a by r cube. Now, why only this way to do that? Because when you multiply all four of them, what ends up happening is all the values of r gets cancelled out, all the terms of r gets cancelled out with each other, and again you are left with only one variable, which is a, and which makes your job much easier to calculate. And then lastly, as usual, the middle term of a GP, same story. It is the geometric mean of the entire series, but again, this property is exclusively available when you have odd number of terms. Because see what happens when you have odd number of terms, you get one unique middle number. If you have even number of terms, you don't have one unique middle number. You have two middle numbers. So that's the problem. So, so these are the concepts that are related to geometric progression that we should be aware of. Then the third of the finite series is harmonic progression. Now, one thing that you guys need to understand here is that harmonic progression is not a separate series as it is. It has been derived from EP. So you'll see that there are very few things that you have to know because it is related to EP. So there's a lot of connections between that. So how do we identify, first of all, it's a harmonic progression? So very simple. If the reciprocals are in arithmetic progression, then the series is a harmonic progression. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's take an example. So all these numbers 1 by 2, 1 by 5, 1 by 8, 1 by 11, etc., etc., they all are in HP. The reason is, let's take their reciprocals. So 1 by 2 ka reciprocal is 2, 1 by 5 ka reciprocal is 5, 1 by 8 ka reciprocal is 8, 1 by 11 ka reciprocal is 11. So your numbers are 2, 5, 8, 11. Now 2, 5, 8, 11, if you compare, the difference between the two terms is always same, which is 3, for example. So 2 and 5 ka difference is 3, 5 and 8 ka difference is 3, 8 and 11 ka difference is 3, and so on and so forth. And we have already studied this. If the difference between two consecutive numbers is same, is constant, then the series is arithmetic progression. So if the reciprocals are in AP, the series is called as HP, harmonic progression. And only one thing that you have to know about HP, that is the formula for nth term. And because it is AP ka reciprocal, so the formula also becomes AP ke nth term ke formula ka reciprocal. So AP ka nth term you guys should know by now, that is A plus n minus 1 into D. So this also becomes 1 upon A plus n minus 1 into D. So that's the idea behind HP, that is harmonic progression. So these three, APGP, HP, these three come under a category of finite series. The idea or the logic is very simple because each of these three series have a formula for that, which is the nth term. You can calculate any term that you wish to calculate, and that's the whole aspect behind it. Now, moving on, let's talk about another series, that is infinitely diminishing series, uh, which is infinite series, for example. Now, first things first, any random series cannot be an infinite series. It has to fulfill, first of all, three criterias. And what are these three criterias? We need to understand that first. So, first criteria is very critical, that is, it has to be a GP, because the infinite series is never possible in case of AP or a HP. So it has to be a GP, first of all. The second condition is it should have infinite terms, which is the basic definition of infinite series. And the last criteria is also critical. Now, because we are dealing with GP, so we know that there will be a common ratio. So it has been observed that when it comes to infinite series, the value of R, that is the common ratio, lies between -1 and +1. So the value of R is always in decimal numbers. So that's the clue sometimes to identify whether it is a infinite series or not, according to me. So these are the three requirements. Now, whichever series completes these three requirements or fulfills these three requirements, obviously will be called as a infinite series. And that's the whole idea behind it. And there is only one formula in this case. This is Sn ka formula of GP, which is, in this case it becomes S infinity now, because there are infinite terms per se. So that formula becomes A upon 1 minus R, which is very related to GP ka Sn ka formula, wherein which you substitute the value of n in that formula as, obviously, infinity, and then R we also know is between -1 and +1, which will be 0 point something, and so on and so forth. So yeah, these are the ideas that are supposed to be known to us when it comes to progressions, basically. Now let's talk about questions that are related to this, starting with the first one. So again, I'll request you all to pause this video as of now and obviously try this yourself, and then see the solution. So the question is very simple. The question is the sum of first 18 terms of a AP is 63 more than the sum of first 11 terms of the AP, and then find the sum of first 29 terms of that AP. Now, how do we do this? Very easy way to do that. The first line itself is very critical. Sum of first 18 terms, that means Sn, and the n ka value is 18 of a AP, 63 more, so it is plus 63, than the sum of first 11 terms of a AP, which again means Sn. So this becomes S18 is 63 more than S11. That is what they are trying to, tell us with this idea. So let's substitute the value of Sn ka formula of AP, which is n by 2, which is 18 by 2, to A plus n minus 1 into D, which is 18 minus 1 into D, and it is 63 plus S11, again the formula n by 2, 2A plus n minus 1, 11 minus 1 into D. So when you solve this, what happens is this becomes 9, this becomes 2A plus 17D. And what we can also do is this, take this 11 by 2 on this side. And before that, what we can do is let's solve that first, because I can see we can simplify that. So if I divide by this 2 inside, this becomes 11 into A plus 5D. The reason is this is going to be 10 and this is going to be 2, this 2 and 2, and then 10. This 10 and 2 gets divided by this 2, which is 11 by 2 ala 2, and then you are left with A plus 5D. And when that becomes on this side, it becomes minus actually. So minus 11 times A plus 5D is equal to 63. So that was the calculation. Let's start solving this now. Open the brackets. So this becomes 18A minus, sorry, plus 17 nines is 153D, and this becomes minus 11A minus 55D is equal to 63. Then 18A minus 11A is 7A. 153D minus 55D, which is what, 98D? Yeah, 98D is equal to 63. Reduced by 7 throughout, it becomes A plus 14D is equal to 9. So this is what we have gotten after after simplifying whatever we know so far. And then let's try and find the answer, or at least read it first, which says find the sum of first 29 terms of the AP. So sum of first 29 terms, which is again going to be S29, and the formula for that is 29 by 2, 2A plus 29 minus 1 D, basically. Okay. Now 29 by 2, and this becomes 2A plus 28D. So again, if we divide by that 2 inside, it becomes 29 into A plus 14D. And now comes the best part. A plus 14D is something that we already know, which is 9. So all we have to do is 29 into 9, which is, I think, 261. Yeah, 261, which is answer option 1, straight away. So as I said, pretty straightforward question. All you have to do is understand the question, remember the formula, substitute the values, and solve it correctly without making a mistake, and you get your answer in no time, literally. So straight as that. So that's the first question. Answer is 261, which is answer option 1. Exactly similar is the second question. So you should definitely get this if we solve that. So in the same manner, you should definitely understand how to do that second one. So the data is similar. The sum of first 12 terms of an AP is equal to the sum of first 19 terms of the same AP. Find the sum of first 31 terms of the AP. So how do we do this? Very simply, what it says is that sum of first 12 terms is equal to sum of first 19 terms. So let's start solving again. S12 is equal to S19. Substitute the values. Sn ka formula AP you should know by now. N by 2 A plus N 2A plus N minus 1 into D. So this becomes 12 by 2, which is 6, 2a plus 11d, 12 minus 1. And this becomes 19 by 2, 2a plus 18d. Now again we can do the same process. We can divide by that 2 inside, 2a plus 18d, and we are left with a plus 9d. If we take this on that side, it becomes 7a plus 105d. Now how it becomes 7a plus 105d? Let me solve that probably here so that you understand. So this part, so first of all, what I will do is I'll take this on this side, so it becomes minus. So we get 19 times a plus 9d minus 6 times 2a plus 11d is equal to 0. So all this 19 into a is 19a, 19 nines are 171d, 6 twos are 12, 11 six are 66d is equal to 0. 19a minus 12a is 7a, 171d minus 66d is 105d is 0. Divided by 7 throughout, a plus 15d is 0. And what are they asking us to find here is sum of first 31 terms of the same AP. So we'll have to do S31 because it is AP. S31, the formula will be 31 by 2, 2a plus 31 minus 1 into d, which is 2a plus 30d. And if you divide by 2 inside, it becomes 31 into a plus 15d. Best part, a plus 15d is 0. So 31 into 0 is of course 0. So 0 is the answer, which is again answer option 1 for question number 2. And the same story is repeating here as well. As I said, it's a pretty straightforward question. All you have to do is understand the data, read it carefully, substitute the value, solve. You should get the answer. Cannot miss out on such simple, easy questions. Okay, let's talk about the next one. Question number 3 straight away, which says ABC are the three geometric means between 9 by 25 and 25 by 9, and we have to find the value of C, for example. So what really happens here is ABC are the three geometric means between these two numbers, that is 9 by 25 and 25 by 9. Now we can use TN ka GP ka formula. So TN ka GP ka formula, if you guys remember, it is A into R raised to N minus 1 basically. So now when you substitute, we'll do this for 25 by 9, and 25 by 9, if you see, it's the fifth term, and R is something that we do not know. So 5 minus 1 is 4 actually. So this is 25 by 9 is equal to 9 by 25 into R raised to 4. Now, if you want to find out the value of R raised to 4, this thing comes on that side. So it becomes ulta again, 25 by 9 itself. 625 by 81. And that is the value of 5 by 3 basically, but because it's the even power, you will have both the answer plus and minus 5 by 3. This is something that we cannot miss out in terms of understanding. So R is coming out to be plus or minus 5 by 3. And now they are asking me the value of C. Unfortunately, C is the fourth term. So for this, it becomes 4 minus 1, the value of R. And 4 minus 1 is 3. But because it is plus or minus, the cubic power will also be either plus or minus, because odd power of negative number is negative and odd power of positive number is positive. And so that means the answer should be cannot be determined, because there will be two answers, because R ka value is plus or minus and C is the fourth term according to this arrangement. So clearly cannot be determined is the answer. So that's one way to do that. The other way would have been if you can understand the language of the question and why these interpretations are so critical and why you have to be so involved or present while reading the question, and your attention has to be there, because then you will try evaluating such things while reading. So they have simply said that ABC are the three geometric means between these two numbers. The biggest problem is they have not specified the order. So for all you know, this is one way. The other way would have been I would have written, let's say, ACB, or I would have written CBA, or I would have written BCA, and so on and so forth. Now, what really happens in that case? In the first arrangement, what you are seeing that the C is the fourth term, so you will do T4. In the second one, it's the third one, so you will do T3. In the other one, it is second term, so you will do T2. Now, I hope you understand. If the position of C keeps on changing, the term number keeps on changing, and if the term number keeps on changing, clearly what really happens is that the value keeps on changing. So they have not specified the order of ABC in the question, so you should have directly done this rather, which is cannot be determined, and that's what the whole idea is all about. So this is what we need to understand in such kind of question, and why the language plays a very very critical role. Yes, this is the note that the order of ABC is not mentioned. So answer is cannot be determined straight away. Question number 3. Let's talk about question number 4. It says a ball is thrown up in the air and it reaches a height of 960 feet, and every time it bounces back to the three-fourth of the height that it has attained in the previous bounce. Find the total distance traveled by the ball till it comes to rest, for example. Now, how do we do this? So, the first thing we have to understand is the clues basically. So, first you need to identify, and you will identify and you will understand that it's a question of GP kind of a question, because the first height is 960, and every time it bounces back to the three-fourth of the height of the previous bounce. So clearly the ratio is same between the two consecutive height. It will be three-fourth of the previous height. So the ratio is same. But the value of R is 3 by 4. And if you remember something that we had discussed also, R is 3 by 4 is actually 0.75, 75% basically. And it is less than 1. High chances that it is the question of infinite series, which is S infinity. Now, if you guys remember, the formula for S infinity is A upon 1 minus R, where A is the first height, which is 960 in this case, and R is 3 by 4 in this case. So 1 minus 3 by 4 is 1 by 4. That means this 4 goes up and gets multiplied. So 960 into 4, which is 3840 basically. Correct? But it is not the right answer. The reason is the language and the interpretation. Super important such things are. It says the total distance traveled by the ball till it comes to rest. And the key part is this part, the total distance traveled by the ball. Now try and imagine the trajectory of this ball. So let's say you have thrown this up in the height of 960 feet in the air. So for example, it goes up like this. Now think about this. Do you think it will stay there or it will come down? Obviously, it will come down because of gravity, right? So what really happens is it comes back 960 again. Then it goes up three-fourth of that. Then it comes back again because of gravity. Then it goes three-fourth of that. It comes back again because of gravity. It goes three-fourth, comes back, goes three-fourth, comes back, and then finally it becomes zero because it comes to the rest. There is no bounce left in the ball itself. So the point is the ball is going 960 up, then it is coming 960 down. Then the next distance it is going up, it is coming down because of gravity. Going up, coming down because of gravity. So what should really happen for the total distance is that the ball is traveling every distance two times. So that means we also have to do into two. Now see, the point is, it is not there in the formula. The formula is only this. The idea is you have to understand this by the context of the question that you have to multiply by 2. And this is the reason why these questions are tricky. You have to be extremely careful and present. And when you do that, the right answer is 7680, which is answer option 4 for that matter. Both the answers are present, and that's why you have to be extremely careful. First was, you can get stuck up in GP, but you will not know the value of n because essentially you need n. In how many iterations the height is becoming 0, we don't know that. But the R the value was the trigger, and then also the last part where you can make a mistake is the calculation, because ball will travel every distance two times. So whatever distance we are seeing, we have to do double of that, because one time up, one time down as well. So that's question number 4 for you. Let's talk about other one, that is question number 5. For example, you have to find sum of first 10 terms of the following series that they have given us. For example, and how do we do that? So first, again, you'll need to try and identify which type of series it does belong to. So clearly, when you see from that perspective, you will realize that it is not even an AP and it is not even a GP, for example. So how do we identify what kind of series this is? So to do this, you'll have to be good with numbers, because only and only then you will be able to get such answers as a matter of fact. So what do we do and how do we do such kind of questions? So one simple way to do that is, you try and rewrite the numbers that are given to us. So for example, the denominators, we can rewrite them as 1 into 2, then 6 can be rewritten as 2 into 3, then 12 can be rewritten as 3 into 4, 20 can be rewritten as 4 into 5, 30 can be rewritten as 5 into 6, and similarly the 10th term can be rewritten as 10 into 11. The pattern finding is crucial, is critical. You cannot miss that. That's the first thing. The second thing is the split. So when you split the numbers, the first number becomes 1 by 1 minus 1 by 2. The second one becomes 1 by 2 minus 1 by 3, which gives you 1 by 6, by the way. And then 1 by 3 minus 1 by 4 gives you 1 by 12. So similarly, for the last one, it will be 1 by 10 minus 1 by 11. And you have to add them if you remember. And if you add them, what happens is the alternate plus minus terms gets cancelled out, and you will be only left with the first and the last number, which is 1 minus 1 by 10, and 1 minus 1 by, sorry, 1 minus 1 by 11, and 1 minus 1 by 11 is 10 by 11. So that is your answer, which is answer option 2, for example, for question number 5. So it is not any one of the standard series, neither AP nor GP nor HP. You have to be good with numbers for such kind of adjustments. Only then you will be able to solve such kind of questions. Basically, that's what we are trying to tell you. Now, moving on. Let's talk about the next one, that is question number 6. We have to find the sum of the first six terms of the expression. Similar kind of the story. You have to be good with the numbers to identify the patterns. So again, we'll have to split the denominators. The first one will be again 1 into 2. The second one will be the 10 will be rewritten as 2 into 5. 50 can be rewritten as 5 into 10. 170 can be rewritten as 10 into 17. Then the other two also. So again, when you split the terms, this is what you end up getting, which is 1 by 1 minus 1 by 2 for the first one. The second one is 1 by 2 minus 1 by 5. The third one is 1 by 5 minus 1 by 10. Similarly, the last one becomes 1 by 26 minus 1 by 37. You have to know that adjustment. Again, when you add them, what really happens is the alternate plus minus gets cancelled out, and you will be left with the first and the last one, which is 1 minus 1 by 37, which is 36 by 37, which is answer option 3 for that matter. These are the ways in which you can solve such kind of questions. So that is question number 6 for you. Now, let's talk about the next one, which is question number 7. Find the sum of n terms of the series. And the series is 1, 2, 4, 2, 3, 5, 3, 4, 6, etc. etc. The easiest way to do that is by substituting the answer options. And there is no other way to do that. For example, the first number that we have is 8. The second number that we have is 30. The third number that we have is 72. 12 6 are yes. Now, what they are asking you to do is, if for example, if you substitute n as 1, you should get the answer as 8. If you do n as 2, understand the language of the question. Sum of n terms. So, sum of two terms. So, sum of two terms is 30 plus 8, which is 38. And n3, if you substitute sum of three terms. So, sum of three terms is 38 plus 72, which is 110. And one more thing, it should satisfy in all the answers or in all the options. You will have to check, because even if one satisfies and the other doesn't satisfy, it is not the answer. So there is no other way to do that. For example, let's start with answer option 1, and let's start with n is equal to 1, because if n is equal to 1 is not there, then that option is basically eliminated. So let's say n as 1. So it becomes 1 into 1 plus 1 is 2, and then 1 plus 2 is 3. It is 6. Not the case. Eliminated straight away. If you do here n as 1, so 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 divided by 3. So 3 and 3 gets cancelled. Yeah, this gives us 8. So this gives us n as 8. So we'll have to substitute n as 2 here to check whether it gets 38 or not, whether it gives us 38 or not. Then this becomes what? 1 plus 1, which is 2 into 3 into 4 divided by 4, which is not 8. So this also gets eliminated straight away. The fourth one, it is 1 into 2, 3 into 1 is 3 plus 19 ones are 19 plus 26. 6 are 22 plus 26 is 48. 48 divided by 6, which is 8. Yeah. N1 by 8 is happening. So only two options are left. That is answer option 2 and answer option 4. Now, what we'll have to do is, we'll have to substitute n is equal to 2 in answer option 2. N is equal to 2. So 2 plus square is 4, 3, 4, 5. No way it gives you 38. So this also gets eliminated. Now the problem is, we'll have to check n is equal to 2 and n is equal to 3 in the answer option 4 itself, because If none of the if any one of the values doesn't satisfy, the answer becomes none of these. So that's the reason you'll have to check both. So let's do n as 2. So this becomes 2 into 3 into, and this is 2 the square is 4, 4 3s are 12 plus 38 plus 26 divided by 12. This 50 50 plus 76. Yes, this gives us 38. N is 2 is satisfied. Last one, N is 3. N3 here. Okay, that is 3 into 4. 3 the square is 9. 9 into 3 is 27. 19 3 is a 57 plus 26 divided by 12. This 12 gets off. This is 4, 4, 6 is 0, 20. 2 is the carry, right? So 6 plus 5, yeah, 11, 110. Satisfied. So I think answer option 4 is the answer, because in this answer all the values satisfied. N is equal to 1, 8 satisfied, N is equal to 2, 38 satisfied, N is equal to 3, 110 also satisfied. So answer option 4 is the answer for question number 7. And this is the way to do that. And that's what you need to understand and remember here. Now, let's talk about question number 8. What does this says? It says we have to find out sum of first 10 terms of the series. And the series is 5, 11 by 2, 25 by 4, and 57 by 8. And first 10 terms. Now, this is one of the trickiest questions of this handout, because of a lot of things that you have to be careful about. The first is the breakup of the series. So all these numbers can be rewritten as a sum of an integer as well as a fraction. For example, 5 can be rewritten as 4 plus 1. 25, 11 by 2 can be rewritten as 5 plus 1 by 2. 25 by 4 can be rewritten as 6 plus 1 by 4. 57 by 8 can be rewritten as 7 plus 1 by 8, and so on and so forth. Now, why that is happening? The reason is this denominator is 1, which can be rewritten as 2 raised to 0. This can be rewritten as 2 raised to 1. This can be rewritten as 2 raised to 2. This can be rewritten as 2 raised to 3. Now, I want to know the 10th term. So, first of all, the integer part. The integer part will be, for the first number, it is starting with 4. The second one, it is 5. The third one is 6. So, it's a consecutive numbers. So, first number is 4. And if they are back to back number, the 10th number, the integer will be 13, for example. So 13 plus 1 upon 2 ka power. Now for the first term, it was 2 raised to 0. For second number, it is 2 raised to 1. For third number, it is 2 raised to 2. So clearly it is going one step behind. So it will be for the 10th term, it will be 2 raised to 9, for example. So that's the first thing that we need to understand. So this is going to be the 10th term. Now we have to add all these numbers. Now, while adding all these numbers, what else that we can do is we can keep all the integers in one side. For example, 4 plus 5 plus 6, so on till 13, all the integers, and then plus all the fractions, that is, and so on and so forth. Now, you'll also observe one thing. All these integers, they are an AP. So, AP ka formula 10th term, no? So, SN ka formula. We can use the first one now, A plus TN, that is 4 plus 30, because we know the value. This becomes the GP. So GP का SN का formula, A is 2 upon 2 raised to 0 is 1, 1 upon 1 is 1. So A is 1. 1 minus R raised to N. So 1 minus r is 1 by 2 raised to n upon 1 minus r. That will be the calculation for GP. So this becomes 5 into 17. This becomes 85 plus something. Now we have to do this calculation specifically for GP. It is 1 minus 1 raised to 10 is 1. 2 raised to 10 is 1024. Minus this becomes half. This becomes 1023 upon 1024 divided by 1 by 2. This comes here. This becomes 1023 upon 1024 into 2 upon 1. That becomes, if I divide this 2 and 1024, it becomes 1023 upon 512. Now, no such answer is present. You tend to mark none of these, but this is, as I said, the tricky question. So what this suggests now is that you simplify this even further in the sense that you divide this fraction 1023 by 5 and 2 actually, and you find out a mixed fraction for that. So if we divide 1023 by 5 and 2, so 5 and 2, 2 is 1024, so it has to be 1 only. So 5 and 2, the remainder becomes 5 and 1. So this number can be rewritten as 85 plus the quotient is 1, remainder is 5 and 1, and divisor is 5 and 2. So what they then eventually suggest is, or they are expecting is, that these two integers will be added and we get 86 into 511 upon 512. That is the correct answer for this question, which is given in answer option 1 basically. So that's the reason I said this is a bad question in a way, because you'll have to be doing so many things in terms of calculation, and the thought process is equally critical. So the numbers have to be split first of all as integers and fractions. Integers are your APs, and the fractions are your GP, wherein which there are 2k powers. The pattern was 2k powers, which is what you need to understand, identify, solve, and then get as the final answer basically. So that is question number 8 for you guys. Let's move on to the next one, which is the last one. That is question number 9. For example, the eighth term of AP is 88 and the 88 term is 8. Then find the value of 100 term, which is T100 for example. So eighth term of AP and nth term of AP, which is Tn. So T8, the formula will be a plus n minus 1 into d, and 70. And that answer is 88 basically. And then 88 term is 8. Okay, so T88 a plus n minus 1 into d. Now, what we have here is we have two equations and two unknowns. We can simultaneously solve them and we can get the answer. So we'll subtract them both. So when we subtract, a plus minus gets cancelled. Plus 70 minus 80/70 is minus 80d, and 88 minus 8 is 80. So d is minus 1. Let's substitute that value of d in one of the equations, probably the first one. So we get a plus 7 and d is minus 1 is 88. So we have a is equal to 88 plus 7, which is 95 for example. So a is 95. Now what are they asking us? They're asking the value of 100 term, is P100. AP का formula Tn का A plus n minus 1 into D. A we know 95. D we know minus 1. So this becomes 95 minus 99, which is minus 4 as the answer, which is answer option 2 for question number 9, which is the simplest and the easiest way to look at that. So T100, the 100 term of the AP is minus 4, which is answer option 2. So folks, that's it. That is all about progressions. I hope you have understood this. Make sure you go back and solve this one more time all by yourself. And if you still have any questions, any issues, any doubts, feel free to let us know. We'll be happy to help you. So have a great day. We'll see you in the next class. Meanwhile, take care. Bye bye. Thank you so